Good morning. Hopefully, you've never been involved in a motor vehicle collision or an accident, and hopefully, you never will be. But I'm going to talk about it a little bit as to what the steps are if you do have the misfortune of ever becoming involved in one. Welcome to Conversations Here and Now. My name is Naresh, and that's the topic I'm covering today. So, this information that I'm going to provide covers pretty much all of Ontario and probably Canada as well, because most of our police departments have the same type of policies regarding motor vehicle collisions. If you're in the US, this does not cover it. So if you become involved in a motor vehicle collision, right away, stop safely. Okay? So whatever road you're traveling on, and you've become whether it's your fault or the other person's fault, come to a stop. Put your flashers on, okay? Put your emergency flashers on. Get out of the car. If, of course, you're still on the roadway, if possible, if you have flares of some type, you can put behind your car, or some type of emergency signage that you can put behind your car so people can change lanes and go in the other lane. So do that. So once you become involved in a motor vehicle collision, you must stop if you're directly involved in a collision. Okay? Pull over. Now, again, this is situational. Okay? So it depends on if it's just a very minor fender bender, very minor issue. You can actually probably pull right off to the road onto the shoulder or into a mall parking lot, that kind of thing. Okay? So, however, if it's a serious collision, then you stay where you are, put your flashers on. So, that's number one step. Stop safely. And along that, once you've stopped, I would suggest to stay calm. Okay? Always the first reaction is, especially if it's not your fault, to get really upset and confront the other driver. There's no point in doing that. Okay? It's happened, deal with it. Okay? Fighting, causing road rage right at the spot there, blaming is not going to do everything. The accident has happened, the collision has happened. Now it'll be up to the police or the insurance companies to figure out who was at fault. So leave it to that. Second step, check for injuries right away. How are you doing? Okay? Are you okay? Are all your passengers okay in your car? And anybody else that's involved? Be kind and check the other car as well and see if they're okay. Okay? So let's say if there is injuries, then you call 911 right away. Okay? And ask for, the dispatcher will ask you if you need police, fire, or ambulance. And once you tell them that you've been involved in a collision, serious motor vehicle collision, I'll just call it accident from now on, serious accident, then they'll send all three, police, fire, because if, just in case cars catch fire sometimes or leak fluids, right? Ambulance, of course, if you're hurt, then you will need an ambulance. So they'll send all three, okay? So let's start first with the fact that no one is injured, okay? So as I said before, ensure safety. Number 3 point, ensure safety. If it's not on a highway, and if it's on one of the municipalities, let's say, or, Mississauga, Brampton, Toronto, Oakville, then you can quickly Google, or just call 911 if you're really concerned, right? Because you're calling the police because it's a serious motor vehicle collision. Then you're calling the police, call 911, and it'll take you to the proper dispatch. People might ask, when should you call the police? And again, number one, as I've said already, when someone is injured or killed. That can happen too. If it's a serious enough motor vehicle collision, somebody can get killed. Also, you must call police if there is suspected criminal activity, such as impaired driving, dangerous driving, etc. Okay, impaired can mean impaired by alcohol or impaired by drug, but you don't know that. Leave it to the police to figure that out. Okay, but that's a criminal activity, and or if somebody was driving so dangerously on the road that it resulted in your collision. Okay, so you must call the police. Okay, uh, third reason when you call the police is if the damage to the vehicles is estimated to be $5,000 or more combined. Okay, if your car is drivable, it doesn't matter if it's 5,000 or not. Call the police if you think it's more than $5,000. You can tell usually by looking at a collision if it's going to be more than five, and most collisions nowadays are. And the dispatcher will give you instructions from there. Most police agencies nowadays have collision reporting centers. So you both drive over there and fill out all the paperwork that needs to be filled out. Okay. Now, if it's a minor collision, as I said, that if you think it's below $5,000, okay, most times you can tell. Police do not need to attend, but you must report it to the collision reporting center within 24 hours. So you need to report your collision within 24 hours, and that's under the Highway Traffic Act. Okay. Also, the other thing I wanted to point out was a lot of times, tow trucks will show up right away if you call the police. And also other people are calling the police as well. If your accident is on the road, other people will call 911 and say, hey, there's two cars here that have been involved in a collision. Okay, so police will probably attend, but you'll also get tow truck drivers attending, okay? And they'll try to tell you, yes, they can take it for free, they can take it to this tow shop, they can take it to this repair shop. If you have CAA, call CAA. Or if you're talking to the dispatcher, tell them to call CAA. Give them your CAA membership number, and they'll let CAA know, or anybody else, Canadian Tire or TD Auto Club or whatever. You don't have to take that tow truck that has shown up on the scene. They show up because they want to make money off of you, okay? They want your business, okay? But they can't force you to take their business, okay? So remember that always. You don't have to go with the tow truck that's there. A lot of times people panic and they say yes, and then the car ends up in a repair shop. And the insurance company may not have wanted the car to go to that repair shop. Now what happens is that repair shop where the car has ended up will charge fees to hold that vehicle over there, whether it's for a day, 2 days, 3 days. And then the insurance company is going to want that vehicle moved to their own repair shop. Okay, so best idea is, if you have CAA, if you have some kind of a membership, get them called, and they will tow your vehicle to where you want it towed. Okay, maybe you have a mechanic tow it to there for the meantime, right? Even if you want it towed to your own driveway, it's better, because then you don't have to pay any fees, right? Even if you tow it to your own driveway, then you talk to the insurance company later on, and they tell you, well, it has to be at this location. Then you can call a tow back and get it taken to that location, okay? So at least you don't have to pay storage fees, right? That's the proper term. Most these places will charge you storage fees, okay? So be really careful with that. Always have in mind, I always tell people, if there's a couple of things you should always think about. If you have a TD Auto Club or a Canadian Tire Auto Club, have that number handy, okay, in your wallet so you can call right away. And if your vehicle is not drivable, figure out where you will want it taken to, if it ever comes to that. Now, the next thing is, let's say whether you've pulled off the road or onto the shoulder, okay, is to exchange information with the other driver. Now, the thing is, if your vehicles are drivable, and if both of you agree, to go to the police reporting center, collision reporting center or police reporting center, depends on which municipality you're in as to what they're called. So if you go to these, they'll get you to fill out the reports, and those reports will be exchanged. Okay, they'll have all the information. But if you are not going to the collision reporting center because it's a minor, very minor fender bender, then you'll need to exchange some information. Okay, so things like each other's full name, address, phone numbers, driver's license number, vehicle ownership details, plate number, make, model, insurance company, policy number. Okay, time, date, and exact location of the collision, weather and road conditions, name and contact info of witnesses if applicable. Okay, now I'm going to try and attach in the description of this podcast, in the description part of it, I'm going to put a link in with of showing a page that you can print out and has all the boxes for this kind of information that you can you can put it in. So I would suggest you make 5 or 6 copies of this page and just put them in your car somewhere. So if this misfortune ever happens, this kind of thing ever happens, then you have these pages right away available to you, and always have a couple of pens in your car somewhere. So you'd be surprised at how many people have no pens in their car at all. So have all that. Again, like I said, if you're not going to go to a collision reporting center, sometimes people also tend to talk to each other and say, hey, let's not report it to the insurance company, we'll get it fixed ourselves so our rates don't go up, etc. I mean, if that's the route you want to take, I would suggest against that. Okay, because what if the other driver 5 days from now refuses to pay to have your vehicle fixed? Now if that happens, then you're going to have to go to the police and report it. Right? Then what happens is then you've gone past the 24 hours. Not that it's going to do anything a lot to you, but it makes the situation complicated. So keep things simple. I would suggest, even if it's a very minor fender bender, go to the collision reporting center. Go there. But before you go there, you're going to tell the other guy, I'll meet you there. What if the other guy decides not to show up, right? So at least get the plate number of the other guy, if you can, at least the plate number and the name. So when you go there, you can at least fill out the name, his whatever information you can get from them. But I would always suggest in any collisions at all, don't take this, well, let's just fix it ourselves and not involve the insurance companies, right? A lot of times people later on refuse to pay for the motor vehicles to be fixed. Okay, so they'll just refuse, right? Then you're up the hill. Then it's a bigger battle, right? Then you have to explain to your own insurance company, or you have to pay for it, everything, your damage out of your pocket, and it just becomes a headache. Okay, so remember that. Again, if it's a minor collision, document the scene as best as you can. Again, if it's a live roadway, live lane, I would not suggest you go around on the roadway taking photographs, etc. Pull off onto the shoulder, go into another parking lot, take photos of the damage that's occurred to your motor vehicle and to the other motor vehicle. Okay, so make sure in your photos you include the license plate of the other motor vehicle, just in case, right? So standing at the shoulder, take photos of where the collision occurred. Don't go onto the roadway. Okay, your safety is most important. You've already had this happen to you, and so you don't want yourself getting hit by another car. Okay, and people are always in a rush, and sometimes they don't notice, can't stop quick enough if you're on the roadway. So be really careful. Okay. Next point I want to cover is moving the vehicles. Again, I've talked about this already. If safe, Ontario law requires drivers to move vehicles off the road after a minor collision if it is safe to do so. Okay? Again, if your cars are drivable, then you can just put them on the shoulder. If you're on a highway, put them on the shoulder. Especially on the highway, you do your best to put them onto the shoulder if they're movable. If they're not, then there's nothing you can do, because at collisions that occur at 100 to 110, 20 kilometers per hour are usually very serious. They're going to be very serious. So you're probably not going to be able to move the cars. They'll be where they are until the police arrive. Okay, and the police, in Ontario, it's the OPP. They will arrive to assist. Okay, so But in the municipalities, if it's, again, as I say it again, if it's a minor accident, you can move the vehicles, put them onto the shoulder, put them into a parking lot, and then go over everything, okay? Take photographs, exchange information. Please exchange information, okay? Write down the license plate of the other person and name, and get them to show you their driver's license. If they're not showing it, if they're refusing, then at least you have the plate number, okay? And you go from there. There's people who are suspended drivers, etc. They don't have a driver's license, so they can't show you any ID, right? Ask for other ID, whatever they can show you, maybe a health card, just to see if this person is saying, my name is John Smith, and that is John Smith, okay? If they refuse to show you anything, just take the plate number and go from there, okay? Take a photograph of their car and go to the police at the collision reporting center and report it there, okay? Again, report the collision. That's very important, to report the collision. If the police show up there, they will give you a police occurrence number, report number, okay? Make sure you keep that information, because that has to be reported to the insurance company. If you're driving to the collision reporting center, you'll get an occurrence number over there, okay? So make sure you write that information down. They'll give you a copy of the collision report as well. So for serious collisions, like I said, police will show up. They may or may not give you a copy of the report on the spot, but they will provide you with an occurrence number. You'll need that for the insurance company. Again, minor collisions, report it right away within 24 hours to the nearest collision reporting center and let them know. And now when you go to the collision reporting centers, usually they're very busy. Unfortunately, it could take, you might get lucky, it might only be an hour, or if it's a really bad weather day, like a snowstorm, you could be there for 6 to 7 hours. It really gets backlogged. Those places get really backlogged when the weather is bad. So you just have to be patient. When your name gets called, you fill out the paperwork, everything that the police agency requires you to do. You can draw a little diagram on on the report. They'll ask you to draw the diagram to the best of your ability. Not everybody is trained to draw a diagram of a motor vehicle collision. Again, if you're not going to go to the collision reporting center because it's a very minor collision, which you should, but if for some reason you're not, then from the shoulder or on the from the parking lot, draw your own diagram, how it happened, okay? So that's important. And now, after all that's done, your car has been, you've taken your car to the collision reporting center. The police will come out and take a look at it. I think sometimes they put a little sticker to show that it's been reported, right? So after all that's done, you have your report number from the police. Notify your insurance company, okay? And it doesn't matter if it's your fault or not. You gotta report it to the insurance company, okay? If you don't report it and it comes out down the roads in some way, then it can affect the coverage. They may not cover you after that, right? They might decline your coverage, right? So you don't want to take that chance, okay? Do everything the right way, as it's supposed to be done. Again, the last thing I will tell you is to follow up. Keep all documentation, photos, and the police reports and report numbers, and cooperate with your insurer during the investigation. The insurance, when you call the insurance company, it's a bit of a long talk. Sometimes they do it online now. It's different with times are changing. In the old days, you used to have to call the insurance company and describe to them everything that's happened. Sometimes, I've been told now things are online. You upload photos that you get, but do what your insurance company requires you to do. Okay, so it's really important that you take every step as it's supposed to be taken. It's for your own protection, right? So again, I'll quickly go over it. I don't want to make this video longer than necessary, but it is important. This is an important one. Stop safely, okay? You're required by law if you're directly involved in a collision. Directly meaning you were, collided with the other person. Stop safely. Check for injuries, okay? Pretty self-explanatory. Ensure safety, okay? Turn on your hazard lights. If you have warning triangles or flares you can put behind your car, do that, okay? Avoid standing in traffic lanes. So if there's a two-lane roadway, stay in the lane where you are if your vehicles are not movable until the police arrive. Stay in your car if possible until the police arrive. Okay, call the police right away if when required. And I gave you the circumstances when police need to be called. If it's a minor collision, police will not attend. They're just far too busy. So that's why they opened up these collision reporting centers. So go to the collision reporting center and report it. Okay. Exchange full information with the other driver as much as possible. Even if you're, again, as I said, even if you're going to go to the collision reporting center, you should still exchange some information. Get the other person's phone number, cell phone number, phone number, name. Try to see, ask them for their driver's license. You can show them your driver's license. So at least that much is there, and get their plate number, okay? And then you show up at the collision reporting center. Try to take a stock of where it happened, how it happened, kind of thing. Okay, when you go to the collision reporting center, they report that you have to fill out yourself. It'll ask you to draw a diagram, right? So do your best to draw that diagram. As I said, move your vehicles off the road. That's a law if they're drivable. Tow trucks will show up 100%, no matter what municipality you're in. They are the fastest to show up. So most times they arrive before any emergency vehicles arrive, okay? And they'll stay there until everything is done. So when they arrive, do not be pressured into taking their services. If you have CAA, TD, whatever, Canadian Tire, Auto Club, whatever you have, you call them or get the police dispatcher to call them, and they'll arrive and take their vehicle to where you want it taken to. A lot of times people have it taken to their own independent mechanic, or even the dealership where they bought it from. But if the dealership is too far away somewhere, then you can have it taken to your own driveway. If that's not possible, then you gotta have to take it to a tow company storage until the insurance company can figure out what to go from there. This is what I said before. This is something that you should always have figured out. What are you going to do if you're involved in a collision where your car has to be taken somewhere by a tow truck? Where do you want it taken to? Okay, so have that figured out in your mind always. It's good to know. Instead of right on the spot panicking, where should my car be taken? Because that's where you get taken advantage of. Okay, so always report the collision. I always say, no matter how minor it is, report the collision, because even if it's a minor collision, you don't know what's happened underneath the car. You don't know what's happened behind the bumper. So when the mechanic puts it up, or the auto body shop puts it up, and they'll say, "Wow, gee, guess what? There's further damage here." So if you didn't report it, you call the other guy back and say, "Hey, you guys agreed to do something amongst the two of you." There's going to be problems there. Okay, so the best thing is always, even if it's a very minor collision, drive to the collision reporting center and report it. Get a police occurrence, get a report number. Okay, of course, notify your insurance company ASAP as to what's happened after everything is done. You call them, okay? And of course, keep all the paperwork so you can follow up. The other thing I wanted to go over was, if it is a serious collision, God forbid, your injuries are such that you have to be taken to the hospital or, whatever, but don't panic. The police will look after everything, okay? Your car will be looked after. Everything will be looked after, okay? So, just get yourself looked after first, if that happens. Sometimes people panic. What's going to happen to my car? This, that. Don't worry. Get yourself looked after. The other thing is, when police arrive, and if everybody's okay, but the collision is serious, then police will probably ask you to provide a statement. Okay, so in that statement, they may take it on video. They may all police departments now have video, or they may ask you to write it out, dictate it, whatever the case may be. Tell them exactly what has happened. Okay, tell them how the collision happened, how it transpired. Okay, when the police are asking you to provide a statement, tell them exactly what's happened. That's the best thing you can do. Okay, now the other thing sometimes people have asked me is what to do if you're a witness to a collision. Okay, so if you're a witness to a collision, whether you're walking on the sidewalk, you see a collision happen, or if you're driving along and you see a collision happen, you think it's a serious collision, you can pull in front of these cars, put your flashers on, get out, make sure everybody's okay. And you can call 911 for them, okay? Because these people are probably panicked a little bit. You can call 911, let the dispatcher know that you're a witness to a collision, okay? And it's a serious collision, and then go from there, okay? Because then the police will arrive. They'll take your statement as well for being a witness, okay? If it's a minor collision or the vehicles are drivable and you saw what happened, pull over alongside with them if you want, okay? And then offer them your name and phone number to both the drivers because you're a witness to the collision happening, okay? So offer them that, and then you're on your way. Make sure everybody's okay, and then go on your way. If they need your statement, if the police at the collision reporting center need your statement, they'll call you. Insurance company will call you if they need your statement. Most likely you will get a call from the insurance company asking you what has happened, okay? So it's important to know ahead of time, what will you do if this kind of thing happens, right? Most important being, where do you want the car taken to if it's such that it can't be driven, right? If you can drive it, go to the collision reporting center and then fill out all the paperwork and then take the car back to your own driveway, fine, and then call your insurance company. But if the car is damaged to a point where it can't be driven, you need to know where you want your car to go to, okay? So always figure that out and have that information in your mind, okay? Or write it down somewhere, whatever have you. So make sure always in your car you have information that is fully up to date. So, that's the least amount of stress you need at the scene, okay? All your information is up to date, then that information can be provided to the police officer that's shown up at the scene. But always in your mind, know ahead of time that if you are ever in, most people don't think of this. They don't ever think they're going to be involved in a collision. I'm sorry this video is going a little bit long but I think it's important. But know ahead of time what you will do, what your steps will be, so you don't panic on the spot and get taken advantage of by, there are good tow truck drivers and then there's unscrupulous tow truck drivers, okay? I'm not painting them all with one big bad brush, but, you have to protect yourself. It's important you have all the information with you, okay? If you have any questions, because this is an important topic, I mean, I found all my topics are important, but this is a very important topic. If you have any other questions that I haven't covered, please ask, put in the comment, and I will answer them. So if you like the video, please like, please subscribe, and please share. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.